Bitcoin is trading at the 40k level once again, just like it did pretty much exactly a year ago. What changed is the perception to the price. While everyone was euphoric in January 2021, now it seems like 40k is catastrophic. In this video, I want to give you your hope back regarding Bitcoin's price in case you've lost it. First things first, study Bitcoin and the price action will be completely irrelevant to you. You get a different level of conviction and trust for the future if you take the time to understand it deeply. The best strategy to not feel anxious about the price, and this is well known but worth repeating every time, is when in doubt, zoom out. Daily or weekly price action can look choppy and volatile, because it is. Instead, take a look at the logarithmic price chart since Bitcoin's inception. Looks pretty fine if you ask me, up and to the right. Adoption is happening, stay patient. Alternatively, you can take a look at the yearly candlesticks. Doesn't look that bad either. The cryptographer Jameson Loeb wrote an annual Bitcoin review in which he collected a lot of data, and much of it points towards wider adoption. The Bitcoin subreddit, for example, experienced hockey stick growth, almost doubling the amounts of users within a year. And we talked about funding before, it's actually going through the roof. Just look at the gap between 2020 and 2021, from $3.5 billion to $25 billion of venture capital funding in the crypto industry. On-chain transaction volume is going through the roof as well. Bitcoin's daily adjusted on-chain value transferred hit $36 billion in 2021. For context, the previous peak was $9 billion in December 2017. The median transaction value also reached its highest point ever. It bounced between $30,000 and $70,000. And that's just on-chain. Lightning experiences the same levels of growth and really became a valid option for some online purchases and El Salvadorans, up significantly in every metric: nodes, channels, network value. How about worldwide Bitcoin ATMs, which are part of the Bitcoin infrastructure? Up 142%. Do you think the people setting up these ATMs are worried about the recent price drop? No, because they think long term. Network security is, you guessed it, at an all-time high. Remember the China mining exodus? Me neither. Bitcoin recovering from China banning Bitcoin was a display of immense strength. An attacker with 100% of the current hash rate would have to spend over 2 years mining in order to accumulate enough work to rewrite the entire Bitcoin blockchain. We also should not forget that last year Bitcoin's biggest software update in years was activated, Taproot. In case you think there is no development going on in Bitcoin, you are very mistaken. It simply has way higher security and stability standards than other chains. This video shows the Bitcoin core developer activity in 2021. To wrap up this Jameson Loeb section, 2021 was a unique cycle that I believe can mostly be attributed to big institutional players driving the market. Those of us who are dedicated to this system shall continue to biddle and add value. We have no control over the market, but I expect that this is only the beginning of the next wave of adoption by the masses. Nothing grows by going up only in a linear way until every human on Earth uses it. This is simply not how adoption of innovation works. I previously talked about Gartner hype cycles, which applies perfectly to emerging technologies. After a peak of inflated expectations follows some disillusionment, before reaching a plateau of productivity, which is sort of the regression to the mean. From there, the next cycle can begin. Here again, it really helps to zoom out. Bitcoin became a $1 trillion asset within 12 years, faster than any company. A monetization process starting at absolutely zero, with no marketing team, no CEO, no starting capital. This is honestly unbelievable. It survived multiple 80 to 90% crashes and always came back even stronger. It's here to stay and there is no question about it. But let's talk about cycles. What if the current bull part of the cycle is over and we fall into the next bear market? Well, that could happen. What is unlikely to happen though is that we copy the last bear market of 2018. After the highs of 2017, Bitcoin plunged into a multi-year bear market and declined by 80%. If we apply this to the last top of 69k, Bitcoin would fall below 14k US dollars. Never say never, but this is extremely unlikely. Here are a few reasons. First, the narrative is way stronger than in 2017. Money gets printed, inflation is striking, and more people take notice. Secondly, the sentiment is different as well. It feels like the understanding of what Bitcoin is definitely growing. It's not just speculators jumping on the train for some quick gains. The pleb army is growing, buys every dip, and doesn't ever think about selling. Good educational information is one of the most important stepping stones towards adoption. Just think about it. The Bitcoin Standard, maybe the most important book in the Bitcoin context, wasn't even released in 2017. And third, the institutions are actually here this time. Whether it's Sailor's MicroStrategy or hedge and insurance funds, they will continue to buy dips if they can. In February last year, Michael Saylor talked to leaders from many institutions. We don't really know yet if he orange pilled any of them. Because corporate moves slowly, we might see the effects this year rather than the previous year. If you're into technical analysis or on-chain analysis, there's a glimpse of hope as well. The relative strength index is at its lowest since the March 2020 crash, a good indicator that Bitcoin is oversold, the bottom is in, or at least close. If we go full bear market, we might hit a red dot though. The supply shock ratio is showing how Bitcoin is moving towards the stronger hands that are less likely to sell.
From like solely a Bitcoin perspective, the most important data that I think you can be looking at right now is the derivatives data, or at least the most important data that you could have been looking at over the last month or so. The supply dynamics that we've been talking about still do look healthy. Like we have this massive bull div from an solely on-chain perspective between, call it, the end of November till now. Like you'll see the illiquid supply shock ratio has just been ticking up and up and up and up. Very similar to what we saw over summer, where we had a bullish divergence, and very similar as well to what we saw at the end of September, where we again had a bullish divergence there. This one's actually larger than both of those. And so what that is showing you is that like supply is moving to entities that have a low tendency to sell. So liquid entities are entities that take in and holds over 75% of the coins they take in, or the other way to think about it is they only sell less than 25% of the coins they take in. So generally speaking, these entities are the strong hands in the market from an on-chain perspective. And so we've seen supply continue to move to these entities.
This has two sides though. It tells you that the supply of available Bitcoin is low or lower than before, but it doesn't tell you anything about the demand, which of course is the second important factor to form the price. According to Bitcoin obituaries, Bitcoin has been called dead 440 times. But guess what? Every 10 minutes a new block gets added to the chain. No transactions can be censored. Everyone can use the network. Bitcoin is not dead. It never was. It's very much alive, like day one. If we keep falling, see the positive. You can stack some cheaper sets, and the lower we go, the higher we can fly afterwards. So how can we conclude this video? There are some reasons to remain bullish even for the short term, for the next 1 or 2 years. To remain hopeful that the bull market is not actually over. However, Bitcoin could also go lower and sideways for a long period of time. If you have conviction and a time horizon that's longer than 2 years or so, you should not be worried about anything going forward. Don't be distracted by the charts, stack some sats and simply enjoy life. Bitcoin will be back. Every day that goes by and Bitcoin hasn't collapsed due to legal or technical problems, that brings new information to the market. It increases the chances of Bitcoin's eventual success and justifies a higher price. Thanks for watching, I hope you took something out of this video, maybe some new hope that you've lost on the way. If you enjoyed the video, I would appreciate it if you leave a like and subscribe to the channel for further content, and then I see you next time.